one of our traditions that goes way back is me doing a Christmas letter to all the friends and family of De La Salle and people who support De La Salle. And the last couple of years at the community meeting, I read the Christmas letter, give you a copy, and then I read the Christmas letter. So I'd like to be able to read the Christmas letter out there, okay, for the alums and the alumni families, just to keep the tradition alive. So here goes. Our earliest memory is often a great insight into our past and who we are. My first conscious memory is from when I was 3 1/2. It was very close to Christmas, but had nothing to do with Santa Claus. I remember Mom asking me to sit with her, and she explained to me that she had to go to the hospital for a while, and that I would be staying with my Aunt Ruth, Uncle Ray, and my 2 cousins, Peter and Raymond. Dad and my brother Tom were going to stay at Grandma's house for a while until Mom got back home. I was not a happy camper, which may explain why I remember it so well. The separation from the family is always a cause for anxiety in young children. Although Tom and I fought a lot, the battles were comforting, and therefore all was right with the world. I was just a few months shy of being 4, and after what seemed like an eternity, Dad came to bring me back home, and Mom was there to greet me with the first meaningful gift I can remember, my sister Maureen. Little did I know that she would become my best friend. The other Christmases came and went in a predictable fashion. Most of the gifts were clothes. And I always knew that something special was soon to happen because Dad would gather us kids in the living room and pour out the hoard of pennies that he had been putting into an old flour can in the kitchen. It was time to count the pennies, which was Dad's Christmas club. Dad went out to buy a tree and I tagged along as a helper. Decorations were those fragile glass ornaments and strings of lights with fairly big bulbs. If they didn't light up, you had to check every bulb since they were, in quotes, a series. One dead bulb shorted the circuit, one of my early lessons in electricity. On Christmas Eve, we prepared for Santa's arrival by being on our best behavior, well, at least for a day. Our stockings were tacked to the faux fireplace with care. We put out the cookies and milk for Santa and carrots for the reindeer. On Christmas morning, there was the usual excitement upon awakening. Santa had been there because some of the cookies were gone. The gifts under the tree were, for the most part, clothes. I can only recall 2 other gifts from those days that I received and that I loved. One was a Lincoln log set and the other an erector set. I played with them for hours on end on rainy days. But the Christmas of 1953 is for me the most memorable. It was the first one without Dad. He passed away only 2 months earlier. Besides having to deal with the loss of Dad, the whole neighborhood had received an eviction notice from Robert Moses, one of my favorite villains. So it was not a happy time for many of us, okay? But I received a gift that Christmas that I still cherish to this day. It was a set of Lionel trains on a 4x8 piece of plywood, okay, with the tracks nailed down. It was from my Uncle Barney. Now that stayed up in the living room until we moved to the Bronx in 1954. So every Christmas I set them up, okay, except for the trains. The other gifts were ephemeral, passing out of memory as time moved on. To this day, I prefer not to receive gifts, particularly clothes, having all that I need. The things that I do have, I do not fear losing, because I have learned that what I treasure most are my gifts of relationships. Besides family, some others are close to being lifelong. A 60-year friendship certainly has passed the test of time. As life would have it, I'm beginning to lose them. 3 of my dearest friends have passed away over the past 3 years. For 2 of them, okay, I was asked to give the eulogies. All 3 of them were or had been brothers, and we lived and worked together in community. Brother Patrick, Brother Lawrence, Brother Raymond were lifelong gifts to me. And while I miss all 3 of them, they help to make me who I am by always encouraging me to take risks and to trust God and the Holy Spirit. They also taught me that it is often much, much easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission. The gift of community that we took for granted in our youth became the foundation of who we are as adults, and what we have become, and what we have accomplished. So this wondrous gift of community is what we have tried to give to our children at De La Salle. At the end of the orientation and opening ceremony for the new school year, each student is asked to sign a code of conduct and to accept the elements of community that define our core values. So we pledge to do no harm or allow any harm to come to each other, whether that harm be physical, emotional, or spiritual. It is a knowledge that we are a safety net for each other, and this often extends to well after they graduate. The elements of community then becomes the foundation of who they are and who they are becoming. So De La Salle kind of bonds us together. It is a great gift of community. For more than 30 years in my welcoming talk to the children who are joining us for the first time, I affirmed on that some of their lifelong friends are in the room, including for many, their future maid of honor, best man, or godparents to some of their children. I know this because my experience of teaching middle schoolers for over 50 years and the experience of so many of the older alums affirms this. Now, every Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we have a reunion for all the alums who were in high school. The turnout is extraordinary. Close to 80% of them come by to spend time with one another and to catch up. The freshmen are still adjusting to their new schools, and they usually end up comparing notes. The seniors are talking about their college applications and the colleges they hope for. Sophomores and juniors share how they are involved in their schools, clubs they are running, school committees they are serving on, trips and opportunities abroad, for some of them during the summer. So I tried to spend some time with each of them, and many say that they miss De La Salle, and they call it their happy time. They often say that they have yet to replicate the experience of community that they had here. However, from what their schools tell me, those core values of De La Salle are being lived and are impacting the schools they now attend. Our alumni are making a difference. They give and they care. So many of our students in boarding school, and even more so those in college, are asked to be peer leaders, dorm prefects, residence advisors, becoming the caretakers, the protectors, and the servant leaders of their community. By giving of themselves, they have a voice that leads by example. They speak to what they took away from De La Salle. So here we are once again at this sacred time of the year, when we celebrate God's gift of light and life. And for those of us with a little less biscuits in our stride and need to rest more often, we know well the loss of friends and loved ones. But they are a gift as they still make themselves known each and every day through us. The unconditional love of friendship born in and of community continues to make an impact on the world around us. Clearly, I would not be who I am were it not for them. I hope that my love and friendship was as good a gift to them as theirs was to me. And I am grateful for all the gifts of love and friendship that have nurtured and nourished my soul these many years. So for those young folks whom I have come to know and love dearly, I pray they continue to love one another and to bring out the best in one another. I want them to know that they will always have my unconditional love, and that is my gift to them. They will always strive to build community wherever they go. And all of us must always remember that in community, that we are in the holy presence of God and in the holy presence of each other. So, Merry Christmas. Love you. Bye-bye.